especially since the video will be uploaded into YouTube. Um, some people may not want to be seen. All right, let me just admit everyone. All right, guys, we are back and we are in chapter one. Yesterday we introduced chapter one, and it's part of your homework, so to speak. You're reading 4 chapters. Please make sure that you go to the beginning of week one so you can see all the different chapters that you will be reading for this week. So we're going to start out in chapter one. Before we get started, I just want to know, are there any questions in regards to how to get on, how to post? Did you guys have any trouble? Everybody good? Jeremiah, Anthony, you guys have questions?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, like, the only thing that was absolutely due for the participation was the question that you presented during your video.
Yes, sir.
And then the other stuff, like the assignments, aren't due until Sunday.
Well, they're due on the day that they're assigned, but they're not counted as late as long as you turn them in by Sunday.
Okay, I just wanted to get clarification. I appreciate it.
Y- No, and that's a good question because what you'll see is if you turn in the assignment, let's say you have Monday's assignment and you turn it in on Tuesday, it'll say late, like it'll show a T for tardy. Don't worry about that. It doesn't get marked late. So as long as you can turn it in, as long as I haven't closed it, which I'll close it on Sunday, you won't, no points are deducted.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a great question. Jeremiah, you have a question? No? Uh, your hand's just up. uh, you can go ahead and put your hand down if you don't have any question. Or maybe your mic's not on. We're not sure. All right. If you work it out, you can always just chime in. All right. So tonight, guys, we are in chapter one, and chapter one is going to open up what this class is about. This class is all about career planning. This is so important. Guys, it's so important. I know some of you are just thinking about getting out of here and starting your career, and I know it's super exciting. It is super exciting to start something that you're interested in and you feel like it's the beginning of your career, which it is. But I promise you, you'll learn that this particular topic is going to be paramount to your career. And let me tell you why. Companies used to do this at the company. I remember when I first got out of the military back in 1998. Some of you may not have been born yet. And when I went to my first company, it was a great company. It was a pharmaceutical company in Illinois. The HR department pulls you in, they sit you down, they assign a mentor to you, they go through your career aspirations and how you're going to be a part of the company. The the notion is that you're going to stay with the company for years and years and years. That's how it used to be. You know, who has a parent or someone they know in their family that has been at a company for like 20 years or more? Anyone? I know, yeah, I see a couple of hands. My brother's been working for the hospital for like 20 years. I'm sure he'll be there until he retires for sure. Like that is, look at all these hands go up. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you have even thought that you're going to go to a company and stay there till you retire? Give me a thumbs up if you think that that's going to be you. You're going to find a company, you're going to stay there until you retire. Oh my goodness, look at you guys. I, I don't know why that warms my heart. I don't know why that warms my heart, but it makes me feel like you guys are, um, dedicated. And I really hope that you do find that in today's economy, things change so fast. And one of the things that really allowed people to do that back in the day is that we had a lot of industry, right? y'all hear it all the time now, right? The manufacturing industries and some of those other industries that employed a lot of people, unfortunately, those companies are not around any longer. Now, you may get lucky enough to find a company with a lot of longevity, a lot of upward mobility, and you're able to stay there. And I say, if you can find that, good. When I worked at that first company, when I left the military, it was a pharmaceutical company. It was the best company I've ever worked for in my entire life. And even that company split into two different companies. But even with that split, what made it so great is that the company they gave us options. They said you could stay with the parent company or you can go with the company that is splitting. They gave you 6 months to decide. They brought in a recruitment company to help you do your resume and to help you find another job if you decided that you weren't going to go with the other company or they weren't going to keep your position. Now, how many companies you think today have that mindset? You probably can't think of one off the top of your head. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's great." I mean, for the most part, we've been hearing a lot of negative stuff in the news, right, when it comes to companies because everything is changing so fast. Innovation, technology has changed the way we work, and and that is one of the paradigm shifts, is what they call it in economics, that has caused companies to not work like they used to work. So if a company can make a system improved through technology and make it more efficient and more cost effective and more profitable, you already know what the answer is to that. You're going to see it in your own respective industries. Ezekiel, did you have a question? So it's going to be very difficult to find a company who's not going to change and or their employee structure changes because of technology. Like you really can't tell anymore. You can't, right? Every industry, um, whether it's can you guys think of one that technology is not affecting? I can't really think of one.
Excuse me, Miss Taylor, can you repeat that, please?
I say again, can you guys think of a company, I'm sorry, an industry where technology has not affected it?
No, not really.
It's kind of hard to think of one, right? And it's not a bad thing. Like I said, I have a master's in cybersecurity, um, data analytics. Listen, I'm all over. I love technology, but I did it by necessity because I was in finance. I was a financial analyst by trade, but everything was done on software. I had to learn technology by default, or I would have become obsolete in my career field. Think about how many of us that is also going to be true. So we're going to talk about that. And we have to think then through if companies are no longer helping you with your career planning because they themselves don't even know sometimes where they're going to be, whose responsibility is it to plan your career? A lot of schools have started to run these classes. It's not just here at Southern Tech. Many schools run these classes from UCF on down because they don't do it in companies anymore. You know, you have to teach students, you can't just say, oh, you give a student a diploma and say, go fly, and you throw them in the wind, in the air, and you hope that they land, right? That's not how it is. So you have to give them this course. So we just want you guys to understand that millions of students around the nation are taking classes like this to help them plan their future. And that is what we're going to do. And we're going to hope that by the end of this, you'll have a better sense of what that means. So we'll talk about the career planning. We'll talk about how to set goals for your career. So let's get started with that. When it comes to planning, many of us know how to plan our financial goals, right? It's very common to say, "Oh, I'm going to buy a house in, 5 years," or "I want to retire at this age," or maybe I want to start my own business. And intuitively, you know I have to plan for that, right? You know you're not at that point today. Intuitively, you know, okay, well, if I want to buy a house in 5 years, what am I going to do now to get there? Is that not the case? We do that all the time. Whether we want to buy a car, a house, is right, start your own business. But many of us do not think about how that parallels into our career. Well, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years with your career? You got to think about that long-term goal as well, and you have to back into it. Because what you do today is directly going to affect where you are tomorrow. Here's one guarantee, my friends. If you do nothing today, it's a strong possibility you will be nowhere tomorrow. Now, that is for sure. You understand? So, a lot of times I used to say this very confusing phrase that you are not living in the present, you are living in the past because where you are right now is a direct reflection of the decisions you made yesterday. Does that make sense? Now, watch this. You're also living in the future because the decisions that you make today are going to directly affect your life tomorrow. So, what really is the present? The present is nothing but preparation. Now, don't go and say, oh my goodness, that means I can't live in the present. Yeah, you can live in the present, but the decisions that you make today is going to affect your tomorrow. And wherever you are today is a direct reflection of the decision you made yesterday. Now, I know some of us will say, man, I know I shouldn't have, I knew I shouldn't have done that, right? But that's okay. So, what does that mean? That means you have to plan. You have to plan. You are not just going to wake up and be where you want to be tomorrow. That is unrealistic. So, the same way that you plan for a house, you plan for a new car, you plan for a marriage, you have to plan your career. When it comes to career prep, career planning, it's different from person to person, right? There's a lot of different pathways you can take. It's also different from industry to industry. A lot of us don't even really know that much about our industry. We may know, oh, I really like the vet field. I know I love animals, but what's going on in the veterinary industry? Do you know? What trajectory is the veterinary industry taking? You have to do that research. What's going on in the welding field? What's going on in the electrical field? What's going on in the construction field? You have to do that research. There's a lot of different websites you can go to, like the Department of Labor here on the screen, the Occupation Information Network, that you can go and start to figure out, okay, if I really want to make a name for myself, if I really want to be successful in this career, I need to learn about my industry. I need to know, okay, what's happening in the welding industry? What's happening in the HVAC industry? How is technology, I hate to say it, affecting my industry? Is there any other skill I'm going to need to learn? What's going on with my industry regionally? Is my industry starting to move on a global landscape? Do I need to start to think about moving abroad or living abroad? Is there a certain type of company I need to work for? Like, as I start to think through what I want to do, I need to understand what's happening in my industry. Does that make sense? Because it has to work, it has to make sense. You can't say, "Oh, I want to do this in my industry," and then you do research and your industry is moving in a whole other direction. You're going to be in trouble. Look at what's happening in the trucking industry. How many people remember the time when everyone said, "Oh, go be a trucker. It's safe." Anybody ever remember that? Go be a trucker. You can make so much money. You can buy you a truck and you're safe. Does anybody know what's happening in the trucking industry right now? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me.
No, ma'am.
I- Rosemary, you know?
No, ma'am.
You don't know? Somebody tell me. I see a couple thumbs up to people that know.
No jobs?
I'm guessing they going to the robot drivers that
I
self
can
You
hear you.
better
that,
know it.
that
That's
drive
it.
by
I can.
I
themselves.
mean, listen. Now here's a good
Hello?
thing. Yeah,
You can
yeah,
hear me?
exactly right. We can hear you. Whoever said
Oh,
hello,
okay. My bad, my bad, my bad.
we can hear you.
Nah,
So
he's right. I
guess
also
what?
agree with him.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Wait,
Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
what
great
did
for
they
all of
say?
you guys that had
Nah,
remote
that's
control
crazy.
cars. Maybe
Remote
y'all
control
get a
cars?
job.
What
Nah,
was
we
it?
drive
What
real
was it?
cars.
You want to drive real cars?
Yeah.
It's going remote. We have a town right up here in the Orlando area. You guys ever heard of Lake Mary? I'm not Lake Mary, Lake Nona.
No bad.
You guys haven't heard of Lake Nona. Okay, Lake Nona is right outside of Kissimmee, and they have autonomous cars. They have them in California. They have them in Las Vegas. And when they say autonomous, what they really mean is they're remote control cars that somebody else is controlling in a remote environment. And people get on the little buses, they get in the cars, and they go. And guess what industry is now doing remote cars? The trucking industry.
Uh,
5 years ago, even 10 years ago, definitely people were like, "Oh, the trucking industry is so safe. They're always going to need a trucker." Yeah, well, I guess not, right? So you never know, right? Technology is changing, so you cannot make that assumption.
I mean, I drive truck for like about 3, 4, 5 years, but it's not for
yeah, car.
everybody though.
Ezekiel, is that you?
No.
You know, this Kim Wells.
Oh, hold on.
I
Trying to
drive
see who's.
truck. I drive truck for like five. I drive truck for since 2017 to 2023, and it's not for everybody. I'm just saying that.
Damn.
And
Five
how
years?
oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask him, well, and how's the industry? Have you noticed any changes?
I don't drive truck no more. I do construction, but
Oh, okay.
depends on what company you work for, and it all depends on what company you work for and your skills. How much years you got and experience you got,
Mhm.
and if you go there driving, it's easy, but it's not for everybody. It's not for me, so that's why I stopped.
Well, pretty soon it ain't going to be for nobody. The way things are going. Um Ezekiel, you had something you want to say?
No, man.
Okay. All right. So we're going to keep going. So, um, we know that things are changing. So when we think about planning, right? Our career plan is not. Let me tell you something right now. If you're the person that says, "I just want to make enough money to take care of my family. I just want to make enough money. I just want to be successful." Um, that is not a goal. That's a dream. How many people have dreams? We've been dreaming since we were kids. We all dream. A dream is not a goal. A dream is not a plan. You got to do something bigger than that. You got to do something bigger than dream. I dream all. I mean, some of us really good at that, right? You have to do something bigger than dream. You have to plan. You understand? So when we talk about planning, what does that mean? That means that you need to write things down. It has to be documented. And you have to start from where you are today. You have to start from where you are today. How many electrical people in the class? How many people in electrical in the class?
Yeah.
All right, so y'all gonna help me out. If I said that I wanted to be a master electrician, I want to be a master electrician. You guys are gonna help me out. I'm gonna write it down. I want to become a master electrician. Now watch this.
I think it take like
That
six
sounds.
years.
Be quiet. That's what I was about to say, Ezekiel.
6 years.
I was about to say that.
No, no,
Okay,
that's not me. That's not me. I don't
Nah,
know.
it's Tyler.
who's
Nah, it's
talking?
me. It's me.
Okay,
It's Tyler.
Okay, TT. I call him TT for short. Yeah, I'm just using his initials. Okay,
Titi?
so I know he's.
Nah.
I'm
Nah, I
so
don't know
quick to
about
give
no.
someone a nickname. I'm just going by your initials. All
Yeah,
right,
Miss
now
Taylor. I don't
watch.
know nothing about no TT. That's kind of
Okay,
crazy.
sorry, Tyler. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so listen. I want to become a master electrician within 6 years. All right, that's my plan. I'm gonna write it down. Now, I'm here today, so that means I have 6 years to meet my goal. Is that okay? Is that right? 6 years to meet my goal. Now, the question then becomes, what am I going to do between now and year 6? Sandro, did you have a question?
I think he did.
Join ATA squad within
Who
six
did
years.
what? If you got, I'm going to put everybody on mute. I just because I don't want the class to get confused. Okay, so if we have to figure out between today and year 6 what we're going to do, we call those action steps or action items or short-term goals. So our long-term goal, and you will be creating a long-term goal today. Our example long-term goal is to become a master electrician within 6 years. Well, what if someone says, okay, I know I want to become a master electrician, but I don't really know, and let's say I have another goal. I also want to start my own business because that's me. I'm very ambitious. But how do I know I even have the skill set to do that? How do I know I can make a good business owner, right? So, what we also want you to do when you set that long term goal and then those different short term goals in between, because between today and year 6, you got to figure out what the steps you're going to take. Before you even do that, maybe you need to take a self assessment, which is also something you're going to do today. A self assessment is typically a little test that helps you to measure. What is your attitude towards different careers? What are you naturally good at? Maybe you are naturally prone to being a good business owner because you're very time, you have great time management. You're good with organization. You're great with people, and you have all these great qualities that make a really great business owner. Not everybody has been battle tested, which means you've been working long enough to know what you're good at. Not everybody has that. Some of us need different self-assessments to try to figure out where am I good? Where do I best place my time? I wish that I knew better when I first got out of the military back in 19 my first got out of the military back in 1998. Then I went to the guard and got out in 2001. And when I got out of the military, I had no idea what I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I started volunteering in the hospital. It lasted 30 days. And that's about as long as my education lasted in working to be a doctor because I realized, ooh, that's not for me. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. And then I decided that, and I took a step down and I said, okay, I'll be a physical therapist. And then I'm not even going to tell you what they made me go look at. Then I said, okay, no, no, I can't do that either. Then I decided I wanted to be going to computer science. Y'all see how confused I was in my 20s? And I now see I should have stayed. I was not smart at all because I was bored with putting the hardware. If I could have just got past the hardware, the software would have interested me, but I just couldn't get past the hardware. It was too boring for me. And now I had to circle back and do it in my late age, but that's okay. What was turning me off from a lot of the careers that I was trying to choose in my 20s is me not knowing myself. I'm a very linear person. I do well with things that have to do with math and science and technology. I never thought that about myself. I thought I wanted to be an attorney or, work as a doctor, all the stuff that most typical people, my age anyway, we went towards. And then I realized that's not me at all. I like to work by myself. I need to be in a science lab somewhere, even teaching, even though, yeah, I talk to people, but you do it in an isolated way. I get to think critically, put things together, write curriculum, and then I get to present it. And I love to do research. But it took me years to know that about myself. If I would have known that about myself 25 years ago, I could have been very, very successful. So really understanding who you are is key to being successful because everybody has certain aptitudes. An aptitude is things that you do well. Think about the compliments that you've gotten in your life. Has anyone ever said to you, "Oh, you're naturally good at X," Or maybe you have an aptitude for math. You have an aptitude for anything science. You can have a aptitude for you're just really good at picking up on things, or even cooking, or whatever it is. You just have a high aptitude for certain things. Has anyone ever been given a compliment for something they just do well, that you don't even, it comes second nature to you? Anybody? Right? And sometimes you don't
All
even
the time.
realize it. You all the time, right? You know
Yes,
what's
man.
so funny? People will tell you that is what you need to go towards, because they say the thing that you do naturally is what you can be most successful at. But oftentimes the things that we do naturally, we're like, I'm not trying to do that for a living, right? But the key is to be able to incorporate something that you do naturally, and it doesn't have to be a direct correlation, right? Maybe something that makes you really good at organizing, anything. Somebody could say, "Oh my God, every time I come to your house, oh, you're always so organized. You just know where everything is." You may not think anything of it, but that means you could be a great project manager. Because the same way you can organize your house, you can organize somebody's business. You can manage somebody's project. You see how that goes? So things that you do naturally, you have to think through, and I encourage you to do your research. How can I make myself successful with things that I do naturally? Does that make sense? How can I incorporate it into my career to help me become successful? You also have a natural ability to do something. Anybody have great hand-eye coordination? Let me tell you something. I'm horrible. I do not have good hand-eye coordination. My daughter has great hand-eye coordination. Do not tell me heads up for nothing. I don't care what you throw at me and say heads up. It's going to hit my head or it's going on the floor. I don't know what it is. I panic. My daughter, I don't care how far you
How
are away
did
from
you
her,
survive in the military?
because nobody was throwing stuff at me in the military. And if they did, I know how to shoot back. But listen, please don't do that, because I have trigger finger. But no, no,
Hold on now, Miss Taylor. Relax. Calm down. Calm down, Miss Taylor.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't shoot us now.
Listen, that's in the military. With my, I do not wear a uniform anymore. But you know, it, people don't realize that the military is very organized, right? We still have a lot of decorum in the military. Y'all, please forgive what we're doing over here in the land. That is not what we're used to doing. The military is very organized. You don't even go to any type of conflict without a lot of coordination. So, but no, I don't have good hand-eye coordination. I played softball and it didn't go well, so that's all right. Everybody doesn't have everything, but some people do have great hand-eye coordination, and you may not think anything of it, but you may say, okay, well, I wonder why I'm always able to be so flexible in this, and how do I know how to put things together? You have to think. You may not even think that's a gift, but it is. You just have to figure out how to use it, right? When we look at people that have obvious skills, like Obama, he speaks well, somebody can sing, somebody else is really good at sports. Those are obvious, gifts. But some people have some other really obvious gifts. I am a visionary. I'm a visual learner. I'm a visionary. You can give me anything, and if I can see it in my head, I can show somebody how to do it. I don't know how I know how to do that. I don't Somebody can bring me a problem. I see it. For some reason, I'm able to hone in on the issue and give people examples of how to fix it. I don't know how I'm able to do that. It's because I'm a visionary. Go ahead, Anthony.
Can I bring you my business plan and you know what I'm saying?
Now,
I
now
can.
listen. I have so many students tell me that. I'm gonna tell you right. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I tell everybody else. You have me for 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, I'm gonna have to charge you. So if you want me to see something, you show it to me while you're in class with me, okay?
Say
But
less.
I'm yours for 4 weeks. So whatever you need, absolutely, I wouldn't mind giving you some advice. But I don't. That's just what I'm good at, So me being a business professor was not a far fetched thing, because that's what I do. Anyway, so you have to figure out what works for you. So Your personality also is going to affect the type of work that you do, right? Because like I said before, it took me a whole bunch of times and tries to realize certain environments I just don't do well in, and that's okay. They have this test called the Myers-Briggs test, where it's like a personality test. Anyone ever heard of that before? Anyone ever heard of the Myers-Briggs test? Anybody ever taking personality test? I see a couple thumbs up. Yeah, and this test kind of, similar to a skills assessment, tells you, okay, this is your personality, kind of like what I was saying. You're a visual learner. You're the type of person that you know is very creative on a team or something like that, and that can all be important because it'll then tell you, okay, you'll do good at this type of work. I remember when I took this test years ago, it said, oh, you'll do really good as a teacher. I'm like, a teacher? Man, get out of here. I'm not going to be a teacher. 20 years later, I'm still teaching. Well, there you have it, right? I was in denial. And then obviously your values. Now, of course, your values are going to play a role in whatever you do. Me as a person of faith, certain things I'm just not going to do. Don't ask. The answer's already no, okay? Because it's part of my value system. So your value system is definitely going to play into the things that you are going to do. And I have seen people step down from opportunities because of their values, and that is perfectly okay. So when you are thinking about your skills, understand this. You're not the only person that's thinking about your skills. You know who else is thinking about your skills? Companies. Companies are interested in both your technical skills, we call those your hard skills, and they're also interested in these soft skills that you have. Because, like I said before, not everybody fits in every position, and companies know that. So they're always looking for people with a certain temperament, a certain personality, because they know not everybody does well in every situation. So when you are looking for jobs, many of us may not have paid attention to it. You know how you look at a job and they always start with the technical skills, but if you ever pay attention, they have those soft skills underneath. Anybody ever paid attention to that? We'd probably be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You won't get good communication and people, but we like, yeah, 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 right? We do that. We do that. We're horrible at doing that until you realize, oh shoot, this job requires me to talk to a lot of people. That's why they want somebody with good communication, right? So those are the skills that they need. When they say hard and soft, that is what they need. So if you see technical skills like, yeah, we want you to be a good accountant. We want you to be a welder. We want you to have data analysis, like the skills on the right. But they also may have these things listed. Active listener, have some flexibility. That means that they're probably going to work at a job that may want you to come in at 7, and sometimes they want you to come in at noon. Do you have that flexibility? They want you to jump on this job and pivot and go work on a different job. When they say flexibility, that's typically what they mean, right? Are you that type of person, or are you the type of person that you don't do well with that type of, going from one thing to the next, having to pivot here and pivot there, right? There's nothing wrong with you. It's just important that you know yourself. That's all that is. Make sense? And like I said, my friends, all jobs are going to have some type of technology. You are not going to be able to get away from it no matter what you do. So just be mindful of that, and especially basic computer skills. Like, you are not going to be in the field your whole time. And a lot of times companies work on what we call the cloud, and we'll be talking about that. And they just expect you to have some basic skills. So become familiar with Google Workspaces and Microsoft 365. These are basically software applications on the cloud, on a server, on a remote server. So if you have Google, you know how you have Google Docs, and they call them what does Google call their Excel spreadsheets or something like that? Because Microsoft has the words Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You guys are used to that terminology. Those are Microsoft products. Google has Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets. I don't know what they call their Google presentations. It's the same stuff, but just it's ran by different companies, right? But most companies are either on Microsoft 365, which is cloud, or Google with it, which is cloud. And you're just going to have to know that and learn that. And don't freak out about it now. But it's just something that companies will want you to know, right? So tonight you're going to set up your goals, SMART goals. I would like for you to have two of them. If I were the master electrician, I'm just going to use it as an example. My first SMART goal would be to become a master electrician within 6 years. Miss Taylor, how do I know if it's smart? Well, I'm going to apply this rule. I'm going to ask myself and my electricians, you guys are going to help me, did that goal pass a SMART test? We're going to use the acronym for SMART and we're going to run it through. So let's start with the S. Was my goal to become a master electrician within 6 years? Was that specific? Give me a thumbs up, electrical people, or anybody who wants to participate. Is that specific? I want to become a master electrician in 6 years. Okay, I got one S. Good. Is it measurable? Can I measure that? I want to become a master electrician within 6 years. Oh, I'm doing so good. Is it attainable? Now, somebody already told me I could do it within 6 years, so y'all not gonna mess with me on that one. I can do it within 6 years. It's attainable. Okay, okay. Is it realistic? I didn't say I was gonna do it in 2 years, right? Y'all agree it's realistic? Very good. Okay, all right. I'm almost there. And is it time bound? Did I put a time stamp on it? I didn't give it a dream. I did not say, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be a master electrician. What did I say? I said within 6 years, I want to become a master electrician. I just created a SMART goal. Did y'all see what I did? Now, let's say I want to create another one. I want to become a master electrician within 6 years and start my own business within 10. Can I do it? Is that still smart? Or am I crazy? Okay. Look, I just created two SMART goals right there. And all I did was make sure it was specific. I did not say, I want to be successful in the electrical industry. That is not specific, right? Do you guys think you can do that tonight? Can you make a SMART goal for yourself? All right. All
You
right.
want you want one or two?
Now, I want you to have two because your SMART goals are going to be part of your project that you're going to be doing. And so you have to start with at least one, but I would like to see two. But if you can only do one, I'm okay with it. Okay? Remember, it's really about you. And this is something you're going to take with you. So if you have two SMART goals, I've seen people with three. You know, it's up to you. Don't, it's not going to give, well, it may make you have to think a little bit more, but you'll be okay. All right? All right. So the other thing that the book talks about, just to wrap this up, is, you know, when you are planning out your career, that, you know, some people go up what we call a career ladder. You guys may have seen that, right? A career ladder. You think back in the day, oh, I'm not going to, yeah, I just graduated from accounting school. Then I go become an accountant. Then I become a supervisor. I become a specialist and I become a director, right? That's just that sequential steps up the ladder, right? And you can totally do that. Like maybe you go become an electrical person and, you know, maybe there's a natural progression. But most of us take a lattice approach, you know. So let's say I'm a VA person right now, I'm a veterinary assistant. And I may do that for a couple of years. And then I may say, well, I'm going to go back to school and become a VT, right? So that's a lateral move. And then I go back to school, I become a VT. You know, it's a lateral step, whether once I become a VT, then I'm going to go back up because a VT is higher than a VA. I may do that for a few years and then decide I'm going to go back to school again and I'm going to specialize in maybe like some type of, you know, preventive medicine for animals, right? And I'm going to go down that road. So it's not that straight sequential step. It does not matter which how your plan lays out because it's your plan, right? So not everybody's going to take a straight shot and end up in some what they call C-suite office. That means you're up there with the big boys. Some people are going to just try to get a lot of experience doing a lot of different things because their goal is to go start their own business. Does that make sense? Nobody's plan is, better than anybody else's because it's your plan. So we'll talk a little bit more about career persona. You'll see it in chapter one, where it talks about how your influence and skills and all this is going to come back in week three, and how it's going to help you start to promote yourself in whatever it is you've decided that you want to do. And by the time we get to week three, we'll have a clear vision of what our long term goals are and how we're going to start to promote ourselves in that. All right, guys. I think that we've digested enough for one night. So here we go. Here's your participation question for tonight. I want you to think through, what are three hard skills, i.e., technical skills, I have or needed for my career? Three top hard skills I know I need for the career I'm in. And then I want you to say, what are three soft skills? We also call those transferable skills. Now, this is something on that soft skill side that you may already naturally have. I want you to name three. So you can start to take inventory of, where am I, and what skills do I have, and what am I bringing to the table? What's going to make me unique as I pursue my career? Make sense? All right, I'm going to give you guys a second to write this down. Remember, you have two assignments for tonight. You're going to take a self-assessment, and you're going to come up with your long-term career goal. If you can't come up one tonight, don't panic. You still have until Sunday to
I
do
did
that
two of
part of
those
it.
yesterday.
Huh?
I did two of those yesterday.
Oh, okay. Okay, see, I
I didn't
like
even
it.
know I was. I didn't know I was like doing it until I went inside the week, and I was like, "Oh shit, I did the homework for tonight."
No, you can do it. Listen, like I said, the assignments are open. You can turn them all in tomorrow if you want to, right? Good. I love
Right.
it. I love it. Because because this is really about you, guys. Like I said before, it's about you, right? And the more you take control over your career, the more successful you are going to be. I'm going to quote a famous rapper. He says, "I'm not a businessman. I'm the business man."
That's Jay Z, right?
Okay, listen, y'all. I know that was corny. I know it was,
Yeah,
but that's the
yeah,
best I could
yeah.
do. But what does that mean? That means you are more than just somebody that is working in a career field. You are the business. You have to promote yourself. You have to manage yourself. You're in charge of your knowledge. You're in charge of your money. Nobody else is in charge of it. You are your own business. Does that make sense? All right, y'all. Well, guess what? I'm going to give you back your time. I'm going to give you back your time. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here just in case anybody has any other